Hey guys, we are in our free online coaching classes for the NET examination, and this video will be the lecture 10 in this series. And the topic is the insolation and the heat budget, and the book which I referred for the topic is The Atmosphere, Ocean and Climate Dynamics by John Marshall, Climatology by John E. Oliver, Atmospheric Thermodynamics by John M. Wells. And this topic is in the fourth heading, that is in the ocean and the atmosphere. Welcome to my channel Success Guru and myself Panjanadam, and let's get into the heading. The insolation. In general, the insolation is the incident solar radiation onto some object, and to be specified, it is the measure of the solar energy that is incident on a specific area over a specific period of time. In the left side image, it is shown here, that is the solar radiation that reaches the surface of the earth. That you can see in the equatorial region, what happens, the solar radiation reaches it vertically, whereas in terms of polar region, the incident solar radiation is in some oblique angle according to its location. So in insolation is greatest at the equator and it decreases towards poleward. As you know, the area increases as the inclination increases, and the area is lesser when the incident angle is at right angle, right? So the total difference in the insolation in the equatorial region as well as in the polar region is somewhat near 4 times. The tropical region, the amount of insolation is not only larger, but there is also a little seasonal variation. It is because all places between the Tropic of Cancer and the Capricorn experience the overhead sun twice during the course of the year. In polar region, what happens, you can see the temperature variation is very high, as the insolation is less in the tropical region and the seasonal variation is very high. So this is the general introduction of the insolation. We will see the effect of atmosphere on the insolation. Okay. So the energy from the sun passes through different layer of the atmosphere before it reaches the ground. So the atmosphere gases are essentially transparent to the visible light. But what happens when there is a suspended particles like liquid or solid material, it can absorb or reflect the light. A thick cloud may allow less than 10% of the sunlight that passes through it to reach the Earth's surface. Clouds generally behave like a mirror. They actually reflect the sunlight in different direction rather than absorbing it. So the reflected sunlight is permanently lost to the earth. The reflection and scattering is actually essential because the blue color of the daytime sky is due to the scattering of the sunlight, and the red color in the evening is also due to the same thing. If you think there is no scattering, what happens? The sky would be black starry even when the sun is high up in the sky. So we might be using a light during the daytime if there is no scattering like that. So the scattering is actually essential to feel the blue sky or a red sky. Okay. So the next thing is the heat budget. Actually, the short wave radiation from the sun can reach the Earth surface. As you know, the longer wave radiation cannot travel a larger distance. Only short wave radiation can travel long distance, and that is why the short wave radiation from the sun can reach the top surface of the atmosphere of the Earth. And ultimately, what happened? Few has been returned back from the atmosphere uh, due to reflection, and some may be absorbed by the earth and reflected and emitted back as a long wave radiation. The basic necessity in this energy interchange is that the amount of incoming solar radiation should be equal to the outgoing solar radiation, right? So the insolation is subjected to several processes of absorption, reflection and scattering. So the insolation is actually controlled by the absorption of the atmosphere and reflection of the atmosphere and scattering effect of the atmosphere as well as the earth surface. So the decide the heat budget on the earth and the atmosphere. The amount of solar radiation passes through the atmosphere depends upon two things, that is the angle of the sun ray and the transparency of the atmosphere. So the angle of the sun ray depends on the place, whether you are in equator or in polar region. So the angle will vary. Not only that, the atmosphere. If the atmosphere is say without cloud, that is clean, the incoming solar radiation will be quite high. If the atmosphere is covered by dust or fog or cloud, then the incoming solar radiation will be comparatively less. So these are the two main things that controls the incoming solar radiation, but that also varies according to time as well as the place. So the solar energy absorbed by the earth get translated into heat day after day, year after year. And all our weather record reveals that certainly in general fashion, a strong continuation of temperature characteristic with a little to indicate the warming trend that would be mandatory. That you can see in the left side graph. Here is a graph of a global temperature from say 1880 to 2000. The overall trend shows there is an increase in the global temperature. So the gain and the loss in heat by incoming and outgoing radiation is known as the heat budget. The term budget implies the balance of the gain and loss of the solar energy on the earth. So to see a bit detail of the heat budget, what we can do is we will try to have some sort of equation that we had already did in our previous video. So we'll just recall it in a shorter way. Okay, the solar energy strikes the upper limit of the atmosphere and it is gradually reaches the earth's surface directly and indirectly. So the direct light, it reaches the surface, and the indirect light is the scattered light from the clouds or dust or whatever it is, and that is absorbed. So it is estimated that out of 100 units of incoming solar radiation, only 51 units travel directly to the earth's surface. The energy flow is called direct radiation. So this 51 unit is the direct radiation from the sun that reaches the earth. The 30 unit received at the upper limit of the troposphere has been reflected and scalded back to the space. And this reflection is meant by the clouds, that is 20 units. The dust particles, they did 7 units, and the surface of the earth is somewhat near 3 units in its original shortwave itself. They are collectively called as the diffused radiation. So this radiation has been diffused out from the earth due to the clouds, the dust particles, and the surface of the earth itself. Another 19 units of the incoming solar radiation is absorbed by the ozone, the water and dust and other components of the atmosphere and the clouds. So together it forms a 70 units, that is 51 units from the direct incident light and the remaining 19 units by the absorption of the atmosphere that takes part in the heating of the earth. And it is to be balanced that the same 70 unit has to be move away from the earth to balance this equation, and that moving out of 70 unit will be in the form of 7 long wave radiation by the earth's surface, that is say 10 units, and re-radiated from the earth to the atmosphere, that is 60 units. So this is the generalized outline of heat budget. And if you want to know more about this thing, you can just check our previous video which is in the link. You can check. And I think this is sufficient for these two topics. And if you still have any doubt, just feel free to ask in the comment section. We will discuss in the next video. I group my videos according to the category that you can check in my playlist. You can connect with us by mail, Facebook and Instagram, and these are the links. You can support us by like, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.